Can you feel it in the air? Can you feel it? We talking about playoffs. Playoffs. You're listening to the All Burgundy and Gold Everything Commanders pregame show powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM Hopewell, Virginia. Like I mentioned, it's playoff time for the Commanders in the NFC Wild Card round. The Commanders are in Tampa Bay to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm Wole and I'm joined by my guy George. The homie Glenn is going to be out, but he'll be on for the post-game show. But what's going on, George?
Been waiting for this all day, and I got to tell you, about 2 o'clock, I started breaking it big time. I've been getting nervous. I just got through about half a pizza, trying to calm myself down a little. But I haven't felt this kind of nervous. I mean, usually even when I go to a game live, I feel it a little bit. Yeah. I haven't felt this in a long time. That's not in 2020. And funny enough, not even 2012. It's been a long time since I felt this kind of nervousness about a playoff game. I am excited.
It's exciting times. Before we talk about this big game, let's knock out the logistics. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. Also, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold Everything YouTube channel. Hit that like button right now. Does well for the Commanders algorithm on YouTube. So hit that like button. Also, our pregame is streaming on the Urban Sports X handle as well. All right, here is our rundown. We'll chat with Bowie TV's Commanders reporter, Candi Waller. She'll be joining us live from Raymond James Stadium. We'll also talk about the keys for a Commanders victory and provide some predictions. You know what I'm going to do. And then finally, we'll select our Commanders fantasy football playoff selection. You know what I'm saying? Or actually, is the fantasy football about over? So maybe we shouldn't. We're gonna give our game. We're gonna predict the dudes that we think is gonna go in. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna predict the dudes.
People might be playing them daily fantasy things.
Okay, you know what?
Like they're doing
folks doing daily fantasy. I'm with that. They're doing daily fantasy. That's all right. We're gonna still do that. All right, live from Raymond James Stadium, we got Bowie TV's Commanders reporter, Candi Waller. On what is good, Candi?
Hey, you all. Hello.
How are you doing? How are you doing? What is the vibe?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You sound great, Candi.
Okay, perfect. I had to let them know that the ice cream machine was broken.
Ice cream machine.
Yeah, I said it's broken. It's making a lot of noise, and I got to do a pregame. I always come places and I tell people what to do.
I know.
I promise it's a leadership skill. Something is broken, it's making a lot of noise.
Exactly.
Fix it, please. Plus, I would like some ice cream when I'm done. So
Candi, first question off the rip, my man Paul out here, he disappointed about Chris Rodriguez not being active. But for you, what are some of the notable actors and actors?
Did you just say something about Chris Rodriguez?
Yeah, this kid.
I was really disturbed about this ice cream situation. It's really got to me. Yes, Chris Rodriguez. I think that I was not expecting that. Definitely was not expecting that. That's interesting. That's interesting for several reasons, and we can get to that in a moment. But I think for me, that is probably the most notable inactive. Perhaps they are expecting a big game from Brian Robinson Jr. We will see about that. Michael Davis sometimes supports special teams. We know it's kind of like, which one do you go with, Benjamin St. Juste or Michael Davis, kind of like the same person, depending on how you look at it. So Michael Davis is inactive. I'm pretty sure the reason why Dominique Hampton is inactive is because Jordan McGee is back.
Okay, good, great. That's good.
Injury report, so Jordan is back. And of course, I know people are back on the Defoe is out. After I went back and looked at some of the film last week and the interview cries on Defoe, I kind of feel like they're going to go a different route in that regard. But this is big. Any way you look at it, it's big to see who is on the inactive list for a playoff game.
Yeah, it's wild because I just feel like Defoe's better. I'm gonna be bluntly honest with you. I think Defoe's better than Percy Butler. I just do. And I'm just gonna be bluntly honest, and I just feel like him being active and Percy Butler being active and playing defense with the starting unit. No knock on Percy Butler. He's a good kid. I'm just not a knock on him when I say this. It's just that he gets lost a lot out there. And Defoe at least is going 100 miles per hour trying to make a play. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I always say use your clues, right? We're talking about healthy scratches.
Yeah,
And
facts.
also, you look at the Percy versus Defoe. I mean, Percy Butler has been a captain several
Yeah,
times throughout the season.
exactly.
You got to consider. And the times that he has been a captain, it is because of his special teams play, right? And that's he's been the special teams captain for that game when he has been the special teams, or on as a captain for game day. So, my use your clues.
No, you're right.
And so for me, honestly, the only surprise is Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Do you think that means a lot of Austin Eckler tonight? Because that's how I take it.
I mean, well, yes, but I also feel like you could have had that with him active. So I am just going to see what happens.
What is she doing? Why is she?
Here's Chick Hernandez.
Why are you not?
There it is.
What is she doing? What is she doing? I don't understand what she's sitting there talking to herself, and then all of a sudden
Everybody thinks I'm talking to myself.
Hi, Chick.
Did they fix the ice cream machine? No.
We have cameos out here on All Burgundy and Gold. This is what's up.
This is what happens when I do
We
that.
got
Not just any
cameos out here.
cameo, a local
could've sworn-
broadcasting legend.
I literally could have swore everybody was busy.
It's hilarious.
Maybe they didn't think I was talking to myself.
Yeah. So let's get into like Marshawn Lattimore's back. From what you've seen out there, does it look like how does he look? I guess the most important.
Here's the thing. Everybody's the same every week. Like it's not. I know I come on here every week and say that, but I'm serious.
I know you are. Yeah.
And it's to the point. I may have shared this on this show. I know I've said it on my show where I'm pretty certain they practice at other times that we're not there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it can't just be when we're in Ashburn. Like they have to be doing things early in the morning or after we leave or something like that. So have we really seen Marshawn practice? No, because media cannot be out there during the real parts of practice like we are during training camp. So it has definitely been one of those weeks where it's been business as usual. Marshawn is a very cool, calm, collected guy.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, we all know he's a different person on the field. So he hasn't shown any other differences. Like he's not walking around limping or anything like that. I mean, he's been a full participant all week in practice. So I think he's just ready to ball out. This is he's familiar with this territory in this team. So.
Obviously, how big is it to have him out there? Just for confidence. Huge. And someone that's in the room that just is familiar with this team and what they do and what they're good at, right? It's just another smart person in the room that understands the strengths and the weaknesses of this Bucs offense. So it's a great thing. Okay, the ice cream machine. Oh, they're grubbing. Look at that. They getting it in.
Ice cream.
Dang. Okay.
This is
They getting that thing. Yeah, my man getting it in on the right side. I see you, bro. You getting it.
We know that
This makes you feel like you're here. Makes you feel like you all are here.
Yeah, it does. I do feel like I'm there. Go ahead, George.
No, we know the teams try to keep everything as much the same as possible when you get to a playoff week, because that's the mindset you got to have, is that you can't get overexcited. But it is different. It is a different atmosphere. It's a different intensity of game and all of that. How has the preparation been? How have the coaches and the players been? Because this is a to be in the back in the playoffs after not being in there. And with a real game, not no fans, but a packed stadium and all that. What's the vibe what's been the vibe you've seen this week? When you've been talking to the coaches and being at some of the practices.
So what you all have to remember, and I had to remind myself of this as well, is that much of the staff have been in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So this is business as usual for them. You know what I mean? I think it's new for us.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's new for the media. It's new for the fans. It's new for some of the returning players. But this is what they're used to, right? Because this is just what they do. Mm-hmm. And so that's how they've been acting, right? So you're talking to a Dan Quinn, Cliff's been, on
the Cardinals,
leave, if you will, but some of the position coaches and everything. This is the second season, as Dan Quinn calls it. It's just something that is part of a successful season. Mm-hmm. And much of the time, they're not used to having unsuccessful seasons. That's just a truth of the matter. So for them, it's the same. I think you're not seeing any of the teams, they've been saying it all year, right? Not too high, not too low.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about the captains that they chose for the postseason, and we can get to that as well.
Yeah.
But we'll learn a lot tonight because we really don't know. I mean, this is the first year of the recalibration situation, right? But I think that when I say we'll learn a lot, I know for myself, and I started doing this probably after probably the Falcons game. And I've probably been doing it all season, which is kind of like just assessing and taking a look at who truly fits this culture in the trenches and who does not. Right?
Yeah.
So, I think I was sharing with you all last week about people getting tired, feeling exhausted, feeling like this is a long season. Yeah. But some people are used to that. Right? Because if you're not, how you plan from September to December, what's the point if you're not playing further into January?
True.
So you're used to this. It is not new to them. They're not used to being home, and they really, quite frankly, don't want to be home. Right? So I think that this will be a learning process because I probably should take more after Dan Quinn and the staff when it comes to this. I'm kind of like already on who's a free agent, who's going to be available in the draft, what training camp competition going to look like, because it's just more of a really trying to see who aligns with the culture. It's abundantly clear what this staff is about, and it is about regular season in the first and the second season. This is something they want to be a trend in what they're known for. This isn't like a just luck thing that they're trying to do here. This is the foundation. This is now the standard. And anything less than this is unsuccessful. So they're all acting normal.
I love it.
People are still laughing at my jokes, so it's okay.
I love it. Hey, Cam has a question for you. He said, Candi, I've been hearing there are so many Commander fans in Tampa, more than it was in week one. Is that true?
I will tell you that I just got here this morning. And so I know in the hotel I'm staying in, there's a ton of Commanders fans.
I'm not surprised.
I saw all the videos and everything from the rally. So, it was a little different from New Orleans. I was there that weekend. And then, of course, week one, I was here that weekend. But I just came in this morning. So it wasn't a ton. It was definitely a good amount of Commanders fans on that flight. But in the hotel, it was just like, okay, this fan.
I've been seeing it all over social media.
So kudos to the fans, man. Y'all are showing up in a big, huge way, and the team recognizes it, and it's super duper cool. It contributes more than you realize, for real, for their energy, and it just helps. It really does. And a lot of them, you have to remember, you all, we were coming from a position and a perspective of understanding the past. A lot of these people, they don't. Like I said, the staff doesn't understand. They understand the past, but they didn't live it. So I'm glad everybody's showing up.
Todd, you ain't lying about this, man. PG County slipping with this, like not picking up the snow, man.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. It's only going to be. It ain't going to be a nice night. It's going to be in the 50s down here, and the 40s probably by halfway through the game. So it ain't warm. It's not snowy, warm. But it ain't warm down here.
It's not warm.
It's like 50 degrees, right? That's good. That's football weather, though.
It did get like in the 60s. It did get in the 60s. That was nice.
Yes, that's definitely football weather.
I have been going to Caps and Commanders Redskins games down here since I was a kid, and every time Washington plays down here, the fans show up. I'll never forget it. Game 7 when they played the Lightning, when the Caps played the Lightning, there was at least 5,000 or 6,000 Caps fans in that arena, and they were loud. And I was one of them.
I remember.
And anytime the Commanders play down here, there ain't no place in that stadium that don't have some burgundy and gold in it somewhere.
That's what I love to see it. So, I'm going to ask you this question, Candi. Who do you feel like needs to step up today for this team to be successful? Who needs to step up?
Brian Robinson Jr.
Okay.
Brian Robinson Jr. The run game has to be strong. The offensive line has been banged up now for a bit, but this is going to have to be where you have to create. It has to. You got to make some room, and you got to make some moves. And so I think B. Rob has had a few tough games here in a row since that second Eagles game.
Yep.
Haven't quite seen him be himself, so he's absolutely got to have a strong game, I believe. Of course, you always want to see Jaden and be consistent and be safe. You always want to do all that. Of course, Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, but it'd be nice to see it get a little creative, right? If there was an opportunity to get a Ben Sinnott involved, you're like, Ben Sinnott, everybody seen him all season, but it's the second season. So if you get a little creative with Ben Sinnott, Luke McCaffrey, that would be cool. But also defensively, the defensive line must be able to stop the run. I think I said this before. It's two things you got to be able to do in the second season, or just to play great football anyway. You got to be able to establish the run. That's why I mentioned Brian Robinson Jr. in the offensive line. But you actually got to be able to stop the run as well. So they're able to get pressure on Baker Mayfield, but you got to actually be able to get him down. And so they have to be able to get to him early and often. They absolutely have to get to him early and often. I know we don't often hear Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne's name in a positive light, but this is what they need to do tonight. So when I watch, totally different game, right? Totally different matchup and opponents. But when I watched the Chargers and the Texans game last night, I said, wow, the Texans sure are creating havoc. They're creating plays. So when you talk about the goal of 3 takeaways, you heard me ask Coach Quinn about takeaways, and he was like, it's a lofty goal. I told him later, it's not lofty to me, but I'm ambitious. So you can't, tell me stuff like that and not do it. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with y'all? But it's doable if you are creating havoc. And they're going to have to create that havoc. And that's something that we have not seen the Commanders do. We've seen them get takeaways and then play that complimentary football by making a team pay for it and scoring a touchdown. And that's fantastic. But absolutely 3+ takeaways, creating that havoc, getting to Baker Mayfield early and often is going to be key. Don't want to see Marshawn have issues with this hamstring, but I'm sure the people who come to this game and who's watching, you're going to get your money's worth watching Marshawn and Mike Evans.
Oh, yes. That's a pay-per-view event,
and if anybody gets put out, I just hope it's not Marshawn. That's all. So,
that's a pay-per-view event.
I want to bring this up because I know a lot of things are different from week 1 to now, but one thing that isn't, Baker Mayfield's ability to escape, to break tackles. It was ridiculous what happened in week 1. They got their hands on him and could not get him down. It felt like one time, never mind all the other times. How much of that's been a focus, do you think, for this defensive staff and these players this week? That if you get your hands on Baker Mayfield, he cannot get away.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things they talked about in press conferences, and that's just a fact. Baker Mayfield, I always say, I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. He's had an outstanding season. He really has. And if you don't get him down, he's gonna make you pay for it, right? And then they have Bucky Irving as well. They have to be able to disrupt Baker. They have to disrupt Baker before they disrupt anybody else. For real. Get him off the field. And get that ball back, be able to control the time of possession, and then create those defensive takeaways. I think it's imperative for that team to do tonight if they want to come away with the win. And I would just like to say this. I haven't quite been in an environment yet where like the staff and people around are like already planning for next week. So people were like, oh, we play Green Bay or Eagles next week. I think it's the Commanders lanyard. So they're like, that's nice y'all came down here. The weather's warmer. But what are you going to do when the season's over? Tomorrow. They're like, stab. And I'm like, do people want to fight?
Wow. They bring smoke. They bold.
They wasn't doing all that week 1.
Oh, they bold. That's how they feeling?
Bold. Yeah, I said.
I mean, arrogance is a beast. You got to be careful what happens when you get overly confident. Dujane, what's going on? Dujane says creating havoc on Baker is where he gives you gifts. As far as his running, it's just making sure you're not trying to be a hero. I agree with that. And be sound in your gap responsibilities. I agree with that.
Right on, Dujane. Right on.
Staying with their person and making sure they're not they have to make these tackles. You know, they have to be in the right coverage. They need to be in the right spaces, or else they're going to have to end up paying for it. You know, it's one of those things where this needs to be where complementary football is paramount. I think that quarterback play has been tremendous all season long. Who would have thought that we would ever be saying that, right? Quarterback play has been tremendous all season long. Who would have thought that? But it has been. I think the Commanders have a great chance of winning this football game if they're not leaving it up to the quarterback to win the football game for them. Does that make sense? That's where the complementary football comes from.
They put so much on Jaden these last weeks.
You know, you sure it can be competitive all day long, but get them the ball back, control the time of possession.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go right into it. What are your keys for Commanders? What are your keys for the Commanders to advance to the divisional round?
Well, definitely still eliminating those turnovers on offense, still keeping the trend of outstanding quarterback play, establishing that run. I'm assuming if Chris Rodriguez is inactive, that either Brian Robinson or Austin Eckler or Jeremy McNichols is going to have an outstanding game. Whomever it may be, please do so. Now, it would be nice from a special teams perspective to really be in the positive margin in starting field position. If they can turn that into, touchdowns or just terrific starting field position, that would be fantastic. And then definitely, I want defensive line. We've heard Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong. You want to keep hearing their names, yes. But Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, they really have to step it up. They have to step it up. You still want great coverage from your linebackers, but that pressure up front, being able to get to Baker Mayfield early and often, that's going to help your secondary. That's going to help your secondary because we don't need a whole bunch of PIs on Marshawn this go
around. Candi, is Crowder out?
I don't think so. No.
I thought Chick Hernandez tweeted that Crowder was in.
Yeah.
Crowder's not out.
Yeah, he's not out.
Yeah, he ain't out. Yeah.
He was questionable. He was questionable. He was on the game status questionable, and he was working out with Dan Quinn earlier.
Okay.
So, but he wasn't on the inactive list. If he was out, he would have been on the inactive list, and he is not. He looked fine during warm-ups, but y'all can't go by what looks fine means because we don't know. Sometimes
I'm about to say Taj. Yeah, no problem, but no problem, boss.
Yeah.
I do think that to your point, man. For me, those two gotta step up. This gotta be. We talked about the Alabama wall in the past where it was doing something. Now this is where you need them. Like a couple years ago, they were a problem a couple years ago. Now they kind of like aren't. So they need to be wrecking balls. They need to be what they were in Alabama. You know what I mean? So I totally agree with you. I'm like this is the game that they got to show their true value.
That they are, and I always go back to this, not because I know they're bought into the culture. It's not that.
Yeah, I know.
And I always go back to, the three people that could skip preseason games because they had such wonderful training camps and OTAs, and two of those three were Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. But going back to the Alabama guys part, B-Rob, J.A. and Deron. The Alabama dudes need to go ahead and, whatever Nick Saban taught y'all, go ahead and do that. And be kind of about that at this point because we really haven't heard from them. I mean, you saw
those two. I'll give B-Rob those two. Yeah.
B-Rob, yes. And I think he got off his game a bit against the Eagles. I think that but they need him back.
Yeah.
Back focused and being able to compete and being who we know he can be as a power back and just hard to tackle and get down. So
no, I agree with you on that one because I do think that he hasn't. Yeah, I think you can make the argument he has, and he had a decent game his last game, but you want to be the same reckless dude, because those fumbles definitely played a trick. They play with his mind. You could tell. So
yeah.
Well,
For sure.
Well, Candi, before we let you go, man, how can folks catch your content? Because I want you to get ready for this playoff game. I want you to be tapped in, all in, ready.
Over here. I was about to be
You know,
like,
so I don't want you to buy no ice cream machine. I was about to
be like Josh Harris is about to come over here. He just waved.
Okay, cool.
You can come
you
over.
You about to do a cameo too? We gonna get the whole.
That's true. If he wants to,
what?
He was like he did stop. He looked. People don't like my green. What's wrong with green?
Eagles colors. That's why.
The green is nice today. I wouldn't wear it when they were playing Philly, but anyway.
How can catch your content? How can they catch you on social media?
At CWall SE on X. Make sure you're subscribed to Bowie TV on YouTube. You can follow me on all platforms. You just find me, Candi Waller. I'll accept your request, or I'll just be like, okay, a new follower, welcome. So, and Bowie TV Sports on IG and X as well. Make sure you keep up with all the content because we keep it going for sure.
Because you got family love right here, man.
Oh, hey, guys. Hey, cousin Bridget. Oh, I love you too. Thank you. People trying to hate on my greens.
And just in case, thank you for everything you've done for us this season. You have been magnificent.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is always a really good time. It's a lot of fun, and I love sharing my knowledge just so people know, feel like you're here, and luckily, gratefully, we had a good season to cover. So hopefully, we get another.
Hopefully, yeah.
Keep going at this because if not, it's gonna be real stressful trying to get back home and deal with all that Monday locker room clean out stuff. So hopefully,
let's hope we have another one of these next week.
Everything's a bonus, man. If you said,
a bonus.
Have you seen that? We talked about this in the off season. We wouldn't imagine this, so might as well.
No. And I would have told you, and I would have definitely said, slow your roll. You talk crazy. So yes, definitely in the bonus. We're in the bonus round.
Yeah, so definitely. So, hey, Candi, thanks for being on. Hopefully, we got you next week. Let's do it.
Let's hope so. All right. See you
guys.
All right,
Candi. See you, Candi.
Right, bye.
Bye. All right, man. Again, Candi Waller, Bowie TV, Washington Commanders reporter, live from Raymond James Stadium. Man, we had some cameos. We got Chick Hernandez just popping on the show. You already know. Look, man, you already know what type of energy we on, man. This is the type of pregame I'm talking about. But yeah, George, get into it, man. Dive into our own analysis of what this game is all about, bro. All right, so I mean, this is for you, man. What is your major storyline going into this game? Other than what's your major storyline going into this game?
I think honestly, I'm looking at what's different from game one. What are the things that were true that are different in game one? So, first thing for me is Jalen McMillan, because they had Chris Godwin. So Jalen McMillan was not a thing in game one. He is a thing now. And I've heard Bucs fans say this, and I think they may be right, that he really is the number one receiver right now and not Mike Evans. Jalen McMillan is a serious talent who is turning into a serious problem for defenses. I don't know if you caught the highlights of their win against New Orleans last week. That catch he made on that throw from Baker. Whoo! I'll tell you, that's number one receiver type stuff out of him. So for me, I'm looking at the things that are different. Jaden's, of course, one of those things because the quarterback he is then and the quarterback he is now ain't even in the same galaxy, in my opinion. But Jalen McMillan is the big difference in Tampa because people are going to say Bucky Irving, but Bucky Irving had a good game against us week one. If you watched our game week one, you knew Bucky Irving was going to be something this year.
Yeah, McMillan had a drop against us. I remember. I do remember. Didn't he have a drop? He had a big drop against us.
He might have had a big drop, but I'll tell you what. He has come on the last month, and I know this is a fantasy owner of his too. He's turning into a real problem. So everybody's gonna be focused on Lattimore versus Evans, and rightfully so. Jalen McMillan is going to be a huge matchup for this defense tonight.
Hey, I see you, Mo, man. Mo said, "Ain't no just in case." You've been bashful all year. Keep up the energy. Hey, man, look, man. I am on my own. This is on this. Mo, you don't be seeing the pregame. The pregame. This is how I keep it. This is how I keep it. I keep it this temperature. This is my pregame temperature. All right. Velvive said, this game has me a little nervous. I know it has a lot of people a little nervous, man. Just get ready for this game. My man, Prodini said, Commanders. I know, bro. We hype for the Commanders. But yeah, my energy is always kind of chill, though, for pre-games, man. You know what I'm saying? For pre-games, it's chill because, I ain't trying to jinx nothing. I ain't going to lie to
y'all. Keep that good juju working, Mole.
For me, my main storyline, man, it's easy to say Lattimore versus Mike Evans. That's an easy storyline. But for me, my storyline is get back. You know what I mean? Washington is a very good team on get back. You know what I mean? So, like, we've seen this team against multiple teams the first time look like, didn't look pretty good, and they get the second time and they look better against that team. You know what I mean? The Giants in week 1, I thought they looked better in week 2 in terms of actually scoring. They kicked field goals to score touchdowns against the Giants in the second game. The Eagles, that's self-explanatory, right? What they did with the Eagles the second time compared to the first time, they lost the Eagles. They beat the Eagles the second time. The Cowboys, same thing. They lost to the Cowboys, beat the Cowboys. Then you got this Tampa game, which arguably was probably their worst game of the season. Or, the game they were dominated. That's not, I ain't want to say the worst game of the season. The game they were dominated the most. And now they get an opportunity to play this team. And then, to be honest with you, these two teams are in different places. You know what I mean? They are in different places. This Bucs team had Chris Godwin, and who's arguably one of the better receivers in football. And, if he's your 2 receiver, you're doing pretty well. And he's not there. Now, you can like McMillan all you want, but, a healthy Chris Godwin is a true problem. It's a true problem with Mike Evans. So I just think that, where this team is at, and Dujane said too, like the bad losses they've had down the stretch. And it's like, I guess I had to think about this myself. I felt like I was overhyping Tampa. I mean, I felt like I was giving, and this I was like, yeah, Tampa's going to be a tough one, like they're in Tampa. But I feel like I'm not giving the Commanders enough respect too at the same time. At the end of the day, we're 12-5 and they're 10-7. At the end of the day, like we're the team that's the stronger team in terms of record, and it's playing down the stretch. Like this Tampa team has had some bad losses with the Saints. They struggled with the Saints, the Cowboys. They've had some bad losses. I don't know why I'm even to a point. I had to think about it. Like, why is the thought process like, why are we like underdogs in this situation? I don't get why we're truly the underdogs.
Here's the thing: Tampa beat Detroit and Philadelphia.
I agree with you. Beginning of the season. That's my argument.
I understand that, but the thing is, I know they're the most frustrating kind of team because they play up and down to the competition. That's what they do. But they went to the Chargers late in the season and stomped a mud hole in them and walked it dry.
They lost to Texas, who got stomped over.
Tampa Bay deserves to be the favorite because they beat better teams than we beat.
I got a counter argument to that. The teams that you're talking about, they were healthy when they played those teams. They're not that same team. That's my argument. They're not the team they played Detroit. The team that beat Detroit is not the same, and the Eagles is not the same team that we're seeing now. That's the argument.
That's fair, but
I can say if that was the case, I would hold Washington. I would hold it against Washington for losing to Tampa, like the way they lost to Tampa in the first game. Like I would hold that against them. I would hold the game they lost to Pittsburgh against them. I would hold the game they lost to the Eagles the first time against them. They're a different team. Like Jaden. So when Jaden lost to the Eagles, was that the same Jaden?
No.
Because he's hurt, right?
But that's because he was injured.
Exactly. So Tampa was healthy back then when they're injured now, right? So they're a different team.
Again, I think the McMillan's emergence, it doesn't make up totally for Chris Godwin, but it makes up for it a lot. You could tell by this down the,
like Dujane said, you could tell like down the stretch how they play ball. So where they're at. They almost lost to Spencer. They almost lost to Spencer Rattler. They almost lost to Spencer Rattler.
So did we, though.
No, at home. At home.
That's true. Yes, at home. That is the critical difference.
So I'm just saying, like, my point is, I get Tampa, the respect for Tampa, but I think that's all that is from the beginning of the season. How they were playing at the beginning of the season.
But they're in the playoffs for the 4th year running, too. They've won that division 4 years in a row.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about how you go into a season, how you go into a postseason game, right?
I mean, they're just an established program, though, at this point.
Huh?
They're an established program at this point.
Yeah, but I'm saying, other than if you're looking at how you go into the postseason,
it's
not like they're a champion. So it's not like we're talking about they're the Chiefs. They're a team that they went to the postseason last year, won a game. They're in the postseason this year. They limped into the postseason. They're not Washington's on a 5-game winning streak. And all when people break down things like that, if you're looking at another team, No one's picking if you, to be real, take all biasness away or whatever the feeling is. Typically, when a team is 5-0 going into a playoff game and the other team's limping in, typically the hot team is the one that people talk about.
That's true.
That's all I'm saying. And it's not like they're playing against a team that's going that thing looking good. They're going against a team that hasn't looked the same since the beginning of the season. And even Duchenez said, they should have lost with the playoffs on the line.
No,
yeah.
Look, and I can't deny that. I watched a good chunk of that game right beside the Washington game last week. And that first half, they were abysmal. The Saints. They were absolutely abysmal in the first half. But I've watched them enough that I know that they're good. They're really good is probably better than us. Like if they play their A game, I think they're going to beat us. Now I don't think they're going to play their A game.
I don't think they have an A game. That's my argument. I think their A game. Their A game is living off of what they did in the beginning of the season when they were healthy.
Okay.
That's my thing because I have the midpoint like they all right. So I love Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. I love Jim Harbaugh, but they don't score. They run us. There's no innovative. You saw what happened with the Texans.
No,
that's what Jim Harbaugh. That's how that team is constructed.
Yeah.
So I don't even use the Chargers because the Chargers are Jekyll and Hyde. So I don't use the Chargers as an example. But if you're telling me like I want to see them and how they played against tough teams over the last some odd weeks, they haven't been the same. I like Baker though. I'm not gonna hate on Baker. I do like Baker. Baker was really good in our last game with them. I'm with them. Oh yeah, Baker was good against us because we couldn't tackle him.
And I think some of it is that for the betting public, I think they still look at this team and kind of think it's still.
Oh, that's what it is. I know what it is.
Commanders.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's my issue with it because I thought that way too. It was I'm not gonna lie to you. Am I saying this game is that we should blow them out? No, but I feel like we shouldn't be. It ain't like we playing freaking Detroit or somebody, y'all. Like that's basically what I'm like. Like this game is a true up in the air game. Let me be as bluntly honest. It's a true up in the air game, and I feel like if Washington plays their style of ball, I'm gonna put it this way: Washington don't beat themselves, they win this game. That's where I'm at. That is totally where I'm at. If they don't beat themselves, they don't lose this game. Period. Paul said they are -3 because they are the home. Oh, I know that, but I feel like the talk. It's not about the betting odds. For me, it's the talk. It's the talk like folks should be shook about this squad. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like Tampa ain't a team that we should be shook about. Thank
That's
you.
The thing. I think that line opened at 3.5 and stayed there. Like or it moved down a little bit, so a little more money came in on Washington.
Yeah,
because they moved it down to 3. So because it opened at 3.5. So the betting public's pretty split. To be fair, the betting public is pretty split. I think so. There's a little bit of respect there from that end. I see what you're saying about the A game and the fact that team early in the season is not there.
That team was Super Bowl contender. That team early was a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
That I won't argue that. I thought they were the best looking team. I thought they would look just as good as Detroit or even better, to be honest with you. Velveet said, she had a question, said, I'm still learning about football. Okay. Glad you're listening to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad you're listening to us. Let's see. What do they say? And the people talking have never covered the team. I've been on this team since week 1. Tampa. He's talking about Tampa. He's been on Tampa since week 1. He's because Duchenez seen Tampa play. Okay.
He would be because he's down in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
So they would have been on his TV a lot.
Mm-hmm. Vovi said, if we lose this game, then we're out the playoffs if we lose. It's losing, you're out.
Yep.
That's how the playoffs work. How the NFL playoffs work. But yeah, George, what are your keys to victory?
Oh gosh. I think the first thing is this. They got beat up pretty bad in the trenches, both sides.
The first game they did.
Daniels kind of took a beating in that first game, and they ran on us pretty good with both Bucky Irving and Rachaad White.
True.
So we got to do better there. We can't let Irving and White have, say, 150 total yards between them or something like that, because I think we're in a lot of trouble if that happens. But by the same token, we can't force Jaden to do everything, because that, as great as Jaden has been, and he's undeniably been great. You know, we've almost been in a Jaden or bust deal for the last few weeks. And quite honestly, that's what was happening in the first half in Dallas.
Yeah.
We could
Real
not
facts.
do anything
That's
if
true.
it wasn't Jaden running it or throwing it. So we've got to get something out of these running backs. We can't have these drops. I don't want to put – because Jaden has met every expectation and exceeded almost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we have put so much on this kid's plate. And for us to be 12-5 with this rookie quarterback, but to me, he's got to put him in the pantheon for the greatest rookie quarterback seasons of all time, care who it is. But for once, can we help this guy and not have to have him carry everything on his back?
I mean, I feel like so my keys are to do what it takes, you know, and this is with Cliff, like do what was working, you know, in the beginning of the season. Run the football. You got to use that running game to help you out. Once you use the running game to help you out, I think they'll be in a good situation. You got Eckler and B-Rob. Basically, those two dudes have always been, when they're together, good things happen. You know what I mean? And we haven't had them together for a while now, but now they're together. So I do think it's important to have them to be together for real. Like that Cowboys game, they weren't for real. That was more trying to get Eckler situated and whatnot. But yeah, it's all about, you know, using that running game to kind of, you know, help Jaden out. Then you just, you know, for me, the Alabama wall gotta be ready. Like they gotta be ready. I don't think that, and I know Paul, I think when Paul just said something, I disagree. The roster isn't on JD5 level. He has to be special. I see, this is the thing. I think against this team, against Tampa, he don't got to be that special defensively. Like now, the thing about it is Tampa's going to blitz and going to bring a lot of pressure, and you got to worry about Todd Bowles blitzing. But if you watch the game against, and I said this, the game against Tampa the first week, folks were open. Jaden just didn't find them. So I think Jaden learns from that. Like it goes about how this team plays the second time around. You know what I mean? So I just think that there are going to be plays out there for Jaden to have, because if it's Todd Bowles, he's going to bring the pressure. If he's going to bring pressure, it's going to be two things. One, Cliff Kingsbury is going to have to coach up Jaden quickly to know where his keys are in terms of when the blitz comes, because people will be open. So he's going to have to figure out what to do in that situation. And then secondly, if they do blitz and they don't get home, now that's a situation where Jaden can go in and have that big run. So there's going to be plays for Jaden and players to get money for real. Like, so I don't know if Jaden has to be special to be real with you. Jaden just got to play his role, play his part. And I guess if you want to say special, Jaden got to be Jaden. Let me put it that way. Jaden got to be Jaden. And that's special. That is special. But that's the same thing. But at the end of the day, like, to win in the postseason, your quarterback has to be great, right? Like, period. Like, Tom Brady won Super Bowls because he was great. Like, to win it in the playoffs, typically, your quarterback has to play at a high level. If your quarterback isn't playing at a high level, typically, you're not advancing.
I want Jaden to be Jaden this week and special next week if we get to
that's when you got to be special.
He's going to have to be special to win in Philadelphia, because that's likely where we're headed if we win. What do I say? Philadelphia. Detroit. What do I say? He'll have to be special in Detroit for us to win next week.
See,
that's likely the destination.
This is what I'm saying. Like, dude, there will be plays to be had on the defense. I agree. If you watch if you know the Bucs defense, bro, like it ain't like you will have plays out there. There will be plays out there. Todd Bowles, he got one speed, bro, and I love Todd Bowles. I love his mentality. So there will be plays out there. The Bucs defense is, I think, with their 18th ranked defense in the NFL. Mm-hmm. They're not. They don't gotta be special. Now he gotta be special if they start turning the ball over and playing bad football. Then he has to be special. But if they play clean football, he don't gotta be special.
Todd Bowles is one of our own. I'm so glad.
I wouldn't say all that, bro. Yeah, 27 the pass game.
Yeah.
What do we? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. He don't got
AI in Philly. That's
that. I
don't want to be blaspheming out here.
That's a little bit too much.
I don't want to be blaspheming.
It ain't that bad. It ain't. Nah, you're doing a little bit. It ain't Eric. There's no Eric. AI had no Pro Bowler with no All-Star with him. It was AI.
Yeah.
I think Jane got Terry. It's different, buddy. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, another Jordan Love interception to finish that game off. That
George,
about
what did I
sums
tell you about
that
that game?
up.
Stop, Jordan, stop doing that. I told you about this game. I told you. You didn't listen to me. I told you about this game. I told you not to trust Jordan Love, didn't I?
No, you did. You did. Doggone it. You
I told you
did.
not to trust Jordan Love. That's why I was like, this game didn't. I was like, well, don't matter. We do our job. We play who we gotta play.
I'll tell you what, when you pay a quarterback that kind of money and he throws a stinker up like that in the playoffs, it's a
again,
tough
hey,
offseason for you.
Eagles fans, guess what? Jalen Hurts ain't look good, and he's already beefing. And did you see AJ Brown?
Mm-hmm.
They ready to blow up. They ready to blow up. I'm telling you, they ready to blow up.
Yeah, but if we win, they end up drawing Rams or Minnesota, and they might find their way through in that game.
Oh, see, they may not. They may not, because now it's getting closer. They may not.
Maybe.
I actually no. I trust those teams. So George, I trust those teams more than I trust the Packers.
No, and you're right. And God, the Eagles gave them every chance in this game.
I know
chance.
AJ Brown was reading a book on the sideline. I saw that. Like I was like, yo, and his face. If you saw his facial expression, he was like he's playing like that real agitated dude, like doing it too. Like
how to win. I mean, I know that Saquon ain't going to get the MVP, but I don't think people realize how much Saquon kept that thing together this year.
He did.
Like if it wasn't for him, that thing would have come apart at the seams for Philadelphia. Saquon held that thing together for those guys.
Okay. Well, if you've got a question, said, will there be a home game if we continue to win? Because I'm a season ticket holder and I'm just curious. No, because it would have been if the Packers could have won again, could have won this game, but there will not be a home game.
Nope.
It's
Road Warriors if we want to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So you may want to go to. Hopefully they get to New Orleans. Saquon's about to break that. He just slid. Damn, Saquon gonna break that one all the way. Good God.
Yeah,
Saquon.
you know what? But he'd see Saquon.
He's smart.
He's
smart.
Like I say, I don't like. You know how I feel about the Penn State propaganda from one of our guests that we love very
that's
much.
My guy, man.
Saquon is the guy he deserves it. I
don't
know about the rest of them.
Saquon, Micah, come on now. It's like
Micah too. Yeah, Saquon and Micah.
And Abdul Carter is special.
Yeah.
He did that with a bum shoulder. He did that with a bum shoulder. He's special.
We are not getting our hands on Abdul Carter.
I want him. I want me Abdul Carter. If I get Abdul, that one shoulder.
But I love Saquon. I've always loved Saquon. And if it was, I just wish it wasn't for the stupid Eagles because I'm glad he's doing great.
The Giants are Mo. Your Giants are idiots. You're watching the show, Mo. Your Giants are idiots.
But I've always been a Saquon guy, and I never jumped off that bandwagon. So that's about the only thing I feel good about with that.
All right, so George, predictions, bro. My man.
All
Mike
right,
in here.
this is going to be a shootout.
Okay.
I was confident in two things this weekend that if I could have bet, I'd have put all my money on these two things. One of them was the Ravens against the spread, no problem. The other one is the over in this game. I think this is going to be a shootout. I think both of these offenses are going to go up and down the field. And I'm saying that Jaden Daniels does it again. He leads us down the field in the last 2 minutes, and we go for two and we win 32-31 Washington.
Oh, you think they would do that? They would go for two? I mean,
yes, you're on the road and you're on the road.
Playoff game with the playoff rules?
Yes, sir.
They good playoff rules.
Don't be like the Falcons. Don't be like the Falcons and go for one and then lose a coin flip and get beaten overtime. Oh, no.
Not in the playoff game.
We are going for two. If we
got
down
playoff rules, though, George. You got playoff rules. You got allowed to get the ball back.
I don't give a damn. Go if you're down 7 and they get the touchdown and it's the last 10 seconds of the game, you go for the win right there.
I got JD5. I ain't for that. If he get a chance to touch the ball, I ain't for that. I take JD5.
He already touching the ball. He just got you in the end zone.
No, he can touch it one more time. Then can't trust a bad play something that is not his fault. I can't do that. I'm not gonna do that.
All right, that's what I'm saying. 32-31 Washington.
31-17. It's okay though. I respect it though, George. I respect it. I mean, you're a better gambler man than I. Taj got it 40-30. 40 Washington,
Lord.
30 Bucks. There I said it. All right,
man, cool. I ain't going to sleep until very late if we have a game like that.
I got
playoff game.
My man Mike ain't there. I got because I got my juju. I got Tampa up. Tampa winning 30-27.
Hey, see, that's okay.
I got
Because you're
to
doing
stick.
the
I
right
got to stick with
things for the
I got to stick
culture.
with my plans. I got to stick with my
That's
plans.
right.
Man. Got to stick with my plans. So I'm
That's
letting y'all
right.
know. So who, George? Give me your fantasy player for tonight, man, for the Commanders.
Here's okay for the Commanders. Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz has a huge game. I think Zach Ertz multiple touchdowns tonight is what I'm calling for Zach Ertz.
Good game too.
But this is gonna be a fantasy bonanza. Like I say, I think lots of points in this game. Lots of points.
He's Paul said, "Yeah, we winning," because y'all said, "Yeah, I know, right, Paul."
That's right.
It's because of me.
Bowie's doing a good juju.
Hey, fantasy player. I'm with this is mine. Todd, we with the same. I got Terry. I think Terry gonna have a huge game, man. I think Terry's gonna have a huge game. Yeah, Dujane agrees with you. Said Zach time. Yeah, Zach Ertz. Yeah, he's been killing.
Mm-hmm.
I do think. Yeah. Had Donna Hopkins on the Urban Sports saying she said that like this should be a tight end game because of the blitzes on this defense. Oh, you going with De'Ami Brown again? All right, yeah. De'Ami would have had a touchdown pass. It would have been a good one last week for you, but you know somebody can't catch an easy touchdown pass. So that would have been a good one actually. That would have been a real good one. You just somebody don't got hands or whatever, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, De'Ami, that's a good one. All right. Hey, also missed the whole. It's all game. What's going on, bro? Don't worry, we got the post game. They should pull up for the post game, man. Pull up for the post game, bro. We good though, Roy. We good, man. But yeah, pull up for the post game. We out here. We outside. We definitely outside. All right, y'all, man. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. But don't forget to tune into our post game show directly after this wild card game. We'll be on YouTube and IG Live. We'll also be streaming on the Urban Sports Team X handle. You can subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. Also, folks, wherever you are, make sure you hit the red subscribe button for our YouTube channel, which is our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel. Also, like the video right now while you're here. Appreciate y'all. I'm anticipating y'all doing that now. All right, thank you. Appreciate you. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Everything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM. And 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces. Hold on. I didn't do this right. Hold on. Let's get it. It's playoff time. Let's go. Come on. Let's get it. Raise hell. All right, y'all. Now, we out.